is Andre Onana. So today we're going to break down everything good about him, why he would be a very, very, very good signing for Manchester United, but also potentially a couple of concerns that I might have about him, because as always, every player has strengths and weaknesses. But today we really are going to focus on some of his strengths initially and then those weaknesses later on. And I think we all know, we all saw the Champions League campaign. We all know what one of his massive, massive strengths is, and that is his ability on the ball with the ball at his feet. Onana is one of the best, if not the very best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world at the moment. Of course, the likes of Ederson, Diogo Costa are right up there. I think Onana, for me, is just a step ahead of them. And in particular, what he's really good at is absorbing pressure, taking his time on the ball. We see goalkeepers which are good at passing, but still if you kind of harass them, they struggle a little bit. That isn't the case for Onana. Let's say the opposition are pressing. Onana is happy to take as much time on the ball as he needs to kind of draw this forward in, because he knows that he has the passing ability to then find someone else. So he kind of takes the pressure on himself to free up someone else. And from a tactical point of view, that could be a hugely important thing for Manchester United. But we'll come back to that just in a second, because not only is his kind of patience good on the ball, he's very confident on the ball, he's a very good short passer, but he's also a really, really good long passer as well. Again, up there with the best long passing goalkeepers in the world at the moment. Very good at going longer, either in behind to a winger or to a forward, or up to more of like the chest of a striker. Onana's got every pass in his locker, really. So, as a skill set, we know that's what he brings. But what I quickly want to focus on is actually tactically why that is so vital to this United team. Now, if you think about it, the benefit of having a ball-playing goalkeeper is actually unbelievably obvious, especially in the modern game. And the reason for that is because so many teams these days use a man-to-man pressing system. It's quite simple, right? So you've got 10 outfield players, the opposition have 10 outfield players, so what we're seeing a lot of at the moment is man-to-man presses quite high up the pitch. For example, let's say the smaller teams, they might push a midfielder forward and go like this, and they'll often defend in some sort of 4-4-2 shape or a 4-2-2-2, kind of be quite narrow, but they're cutting off all the options. Both centre-backs are marked, both full-backs are marked, and they're kind of using shadow presses to cover the midfield, whilst having a spare man at the back to deal with the striker. This is the sort of thing we see a lot in the Premier League at the moment. And the issue that United have at the moment is David De Gea is at the back and has no ball-playing ability at all. So timid on the ball, you can see how nervous he is, the anxiety kicks in the second he gets the ball. He's not good with the ball at his feet, and therefore the United players never choose to pass back to him. So that causes a problem, because it means United are therefore 10 versus 10 in the middle of the pitch, which is quite difficult. Having a ball-playing goalkeeper like Onana, who is very confident on the ball, now gives you an 11 versus 10. So physically, the opposition, they cannot physically match you if you have a ball-playing goalkeeper, because the opposition goalkeeper can't come mark a striker. So physically, if you have a ball-playing goalkeeper in your side, it's physically genuinely impossible for the opposition to hit you with a man-to-man press, because simply they don't have enough players. So that is a huge advantage to United, especially when you consider the fact that most teams, especially the smaller teams or the mid-table teams, will defend with a back four still. They don't want to commit a full-back or a centre-back forward. So this means that if United were to sign Onana, there would be situations where they can drop their centre-back super deep. Onana is happy to play in between the two of them, splitting the centre-backs quite wide, like this. United can get themselves a position here where they've got the likes of Shaw, Martinez, Onana, Varane, Dalot, Casemiro as well, potentially just up against 4 players, which is a 6 versus 4 situation, which instantly gives United a massive advantage which they don't currently have. Also, the fact that Onana is happy to step forward with the ball is important as well. If he was someone which stuck to his line like this, it would be much easier for the two strikers for the opposition to sit a bit narrower and kind of, as the ball goes one way, they then go press it. When Onana is stepping forward literally into this position, it asks more questions of these two forwards, because the second the ball goes wide, it's now much more difficult for the striker to press, because Onana is back there in the middle. So Onana's ability to play on the ball would improve United's ability out from the back tenfold. So Onana's ability and impact on the ball is almost so good that it means you don't even necessarily need that press-resistant midfielder. Of course, it's a position that we've linked United with a lot over the past few months. Signing someone like Onana, who is this good on the ball, with the ball at his feet, you almost don't need that press-resistant midfielder. And there's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is because Onana himself is press-resistant, and he's able to draw pressure in, turn a player, and then beat them. Now, of course, from a goalkeeper, that's going to give you a few scares over the course of the season, and maybe the odd mistake as well. But the net positive is that you have a goalkeeper which can play out from the back, and 9 times out of 10, it gives you an advantage. So expect the occasional mistake in these situations, expect your heart to be in your mouth half the time, but Onana, 9 times out of 10, he does have the situation under control, no matter how sketchy it looks. So that is of course one benefit. The other benefit is, as we've said already, you physically have the numerical overload. Even if the opposition want to push their midfielders a bit higher, you still have too many players for them to be able to press you in a man-to-man system in these areas. So that, of course, is the other benefit. The other benefit, and the real reason why this makes Manchester United much harder to press, is because of Onana's long passing ability. For example, let's say the opposition do go, okay, we can't give Onana time on the ball, he's too good on the ball, so we need to press a little bit higher. Let's put pressure on the ball and, stop United playing out from the back. Their ball-playing goalkeeper is too good, we need to stop them from playing out from the back. Let's press super high. The problem that this means is that they now have to press their defence super high, which leaves room in behind. And Onana is genuinely capable of playing lofted through balls to strikers, to forwards. We've seen Edison do it in the past few seasons, Diogo Costa, Alisson as well has done it quite well for Liverpool at times. This ball over the top is genuinely one which Onana has in his locker. Pinging it over the top and getting in behind. And this is the problem that Onana causes for other teams. I mean, the best way to sum it up is what Pep Guardiola spoke about after the FA Cup final against Manchester United and before the Champions League final against Inter, where of course Onana was playing. What did he say? He said when you play Inter and they have a keeper like him, it is so much more difficult to press them because he is so good on the ball. When we played against United with De Gea, he wasn't comfortable on the ball, and when he wanted to go long, they gave it straight back to us. We can't do that against Inter because of Onana. That's along the lines of what Pep Guardiola was trying to say. Onana is simply far too good on the ball. You can't press super high because he's that press resistant and he's that good on the ball that it'll just clip a ball over the top. This therefore means that teams instead drop a little bit deeper and they get men behind the ball. They want to cut off this space in behind the defence. What is the knock-on effect of that? The whole team has to drop a little bit deeper. And what of course is the knock-on effect of that? As a consequence, the opposition aren't pressing as high, which means United have more time on the ball, which means we cut out all of those areas where United can't play out from the back, simply because the opposition become too scared to even press you. I mean, we see it against Manchester City. Edison is so good on the ball that, particularly the mid-table teams, they don't even bother pressing because they know they're too good. Manchester United could have that with Onana in goal. Those are the benefits of having Onana on the ball in your teams. He's simply phenomenal in possession. For me, I think he is the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world at the moment. Diogo Costa certainly pushes him. They're both very, very good. But Onana, I think, in the Champions League this season, really proved that he might just be a cut above. He's ridiculous. He really is ridiculous. He's got a great character about him, and that is brilliant. However, of course, maybe the more traditionalists, and it's important anyway, people will say, it's one thing that he's good with the ball at his feet, but is he a good shot stopper? Because whilst De Gea has declined massively, on his day he does still make big saves in big moments. He doesn't do it as consistently anymore, but he is still a good goalkeeper from a shot stopping point of view. So, whilst Onana, it's important that he's good on the ball and it will improve United massively, he needs to do the fundamentals of a goalkeeper as well. So that's what I want to look at. And we're going to stick with some of the modern traits, things like sweeping, cross-claiming, things like that. And we will start with the fact, can Onana sweep? We know that Manchester United want to press quite high up the pitch under Erik ten Hag. To do that, you need a goalkeeper which is willing to play off his line. Well, first things first, Onana is more than happy playing off his line. He's a very confident goalkeeper. I mean, in fact, actually, we'll come on to that in a second, but his personality is something I really like. But let's look, can he sweep? Well, these are the numbers from the past few seasons. We can see at the top there, we've got two examples where he's performing ridiculously well for defensive actions outside the penalty area and the average distance of his defensive actions. These were a few seasons ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Then we look at the past 2 seasons, lower down, those numbers are really quite poor, not very good at all. So this asks the question, can Onana be a good sweeping goalkeeper? And I think the answer is yes. Now people might look at the last 2 seasons and say, maybe he can't do it anymore. But it looks more like it's a tactical instruction. Inter Milan don't exactly play with a high line, for example, so there isn't that need for Onana to sweep as much. But those higher numbers at the top there, guess what manager they came under? Erik ten Hag. Andre Onana, to me, looks like he can be a sweeping goalkeeper. He looks more than confident doing it. Now, of course, as I've said already, every player has weaknesses, and Onana's ability to sweep up behind the defence is a huge positive. It's a huge plus for Manchester United because it means the team can press higher. However, again, expect mistakes. Onana's judgment of when to come out and when to stay back isn't always great. I think there are goalkeepers which are better at sweeping. In terms of confidence and believing that he can do it, Onana's definitely happy to do it. He's more than comfortable in those positions. But actually his ability and his judgment, I would question a little bit more. At times he comes out very unnecessarily and gets caught in no man's land a little bit. That is my concern with Onana. I think he's a good sweeping goalkeeper, confidence-wise, but his judgment needs work. Ten Hag probably needs to have a word with him to kind of calm him down. If he signs for United, he needs to not always be going. So he does need a bit of coaching and refinement in this area, but the good thing is that he's confident to do it. The next question is, can he stop crosses coming into the box? And again, we kind of had mixed numbers on this. Again, if we go to 3 or 4 seasons ago, we can see that he ranked in the 94th percentile and the 95th percentile for the percentage of crosses that he was stopping. Lower down, the numbers don't look so good in more recent seasons. So again, this does ask a bit of a question. Why was he doing it before? Why isn't he doing it now? Well, again, it might be a tactical thing, interplay with 3 centre-backs, so there's almost less need for a goalkeeper to come and deal with these balls. But it does just make you wonder a little bit, again, is Onana literally perfect? Not quite. The numbers in terms of sweeping and cross-stopping in the past few seasons haven't been quite as good. However, again, he's still a very confident goalkeeper. He is happy to try and command his area. Again, he doesn't always quite execute it perfectly. He had a high-profile mistake against Liverpool the other year, I believe it was, where he completely misjudges it and basically leaves an open goal. He will make mistakes, but again, in terms of if we're literally comparing to David De Gea, I still think it's a massive upgrade because, for a start, he at least wants to try and stop crosses into his box, which, again, it is an upgrade on De Gea because De Gea just didn't do that. So it is another area where, for me, Onana is better than David De Gea. Do I think he's in the elite bracket in terms of stopping crosses come into his box? Not in my opinion, and probably not in sweeping either. However, he is still good in these areas. He is still, in the top few percent. He is still very good at these things. And then finally, shot stopping. Is he a good shot stopper? Well, these are numbers from the Champions League, and I've got it written down here. These first numbers here are from the 2018-19 Champions League season, where we can see on the far left there, rank 1. So this is for the top number here. He was the best goalkeeper in the Champions League that season, 2018 and 19 season, for stopping shots going into his net. In terms of post-shot XG, he had a net positive of plus 5.1. So he saved 5.1 more goals than you would expect from any goalkeeper, really. So he had a brilliant season in 2018-19, ranked as the best goalkeeper in the Champions League that season. We then go on to the next season, 2019 and 20 season, where again his post-shot XG is about 5, again stopping 5 goals more than you'd expect, which again ranked him as the best. He then had 2 seasons, where in 2021 and 21-22 he finished 8th and 9th in the Champions League for post-shot XG, so not quite as good, but he's still in the top 10, so it's not bad at all. And then this later season, the season that's just finished, again in the Champions League, ranking at number 1 with plus 7.6 post-shot XG that he saved. He's a very, very good shot stopper. Is he, again, the top 3 or 4 in the world? Probably not, I don't think he is, but he is a very, very solid shot stopper. So in terms of overall, this is a very good goalkeeper. Shot stopping wise, very, very good. Again, probably not the top 5 in the world, but he's in that next bracket after that. He's a very, very good shot stopper. In terms of stopping crosses, he's more than capable of doing it. He's very good at it. Expect the occasional error, but still very good at it. And again, in terms of sweeping, happy, more than confident to do it, more than comfortable doing it. Again, you'll see the occasional mistake, but he is a much better sweeper keeper than David De Gea. So those 3 areas, it's a massive upgrade. And then in terms of his passing on the ball, I mean, clearly, they're the best in the world, in my opinion, so clearly better than David De Gea. So this would be an upgrade in goal in all 4 areas, in my opinion. The other thing I like about it, though, is that Onana is also his personality, his character. He's a very confident young man. He believes in himself, he always plays with a smile on his face as well, which I quite like. But this guy's self-belief, he can deal with moving to Manchester United, in my opinion. I mean, I believe, didn't he say he doesn't want to play for the national team anymore because they didn't play the style of football which he wanted to play? He was being told to constantly kick long, he wanted to play short. That kind of shows the mentality here, how he wants to play. He's very strong-minded. The other thing, the fact that he even made the move to Inter last year, Handanovic had been in as goalkeeper for a long, long time and looked a bit difficult to displace from the team. And whilst it might have taken a bit of time for Onana to kind of push him out of the team, he still felt confident making the move. He felt confident in his own ability that he could go replace him. Of course, we've seen him in Champions League campaigns, Champions League finals. He has played big games under big pressure. Onana, in terms of his personality, looks like someone which could deal with the pressure of the number 1 spot at Manchester United. Now, in any other transfer window, I would be saying this is the goalkeeper that Manchester United should go get. The only kind of question mark for me is the fact that Diogo Costa is out there. Personally, I still prefer Costa as an option because I think he's better at sweeping, I think he's better at stopping crosses, and I think he's better at saving as well. Onana is probably the better ball player, and is still a very, very good option. Probably the most frustrating thing is that he'll cost 40 to 50 million when last season he was a free transfer. It's a little bit disappointing. But if Manchester United sign Andre Onana this summer, they drastically improve the team, both on the ball and off the ball. The whole collective, the whole 11, would be 3 or 4 times better with Onana in the team. I really can't put it into words enough. Like, it's difficult to explain without you guys literally seeing it. Onana improves this team a drastic amount. So if United can't get Diogo Costa, go for Onana.